And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
First home playoff game in Albany FireWolves history this Sunday, 3 o'clock. Yeah, you can watch it on TV, but no better place to see it than down at the arena. Downtown Albany MVP Arena as the FireWolves take on Halifax in the first round of these NLL playoffs. A 3 seed from 3 wins last year to the 3 seed this year. Heck of a turnaround, but Coach Clark has said it to us many times this season. He won't be satisfied until he's holding a trophy at the end of it all. Let's bring in the commissioner of the National Lacrosse League, Brett Frood, with us here on Onorato and Miller in Albany, New York. Brett, good to see you, man. It's been a while. How are you?
Hey, Chris, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for making the time. Obviously, I know it's a busy time for you ahead of the playoffs, especially. What does it mean for the league, from a league perspective, to have a turnaround like this for the Albany franchise to now host the first playoff game in franchise history?
Yeah, I mean, when we entered this year with our new unified standings, really, we were super excited about having parity and as much competitive balance as possible. And it really has proved that way, right?
Mm.
From opening weekend until the last few minutes of the last game of the season, we really didn't know who our top eight was going to be. And Albany is really proof in the pudding relative to that parity and in the league and what a young team is capable of. Quite a season, obviously, and has been consistent, from day one. So excited to see what they can do in the playoffs.
Look, regionally, it just makes sense. You see Buffalo twice a year, maybe. I think a lot of people are like, hey, unified standings, great. Do we not have to play Buffalo twice? But when you beat Buffalo twice, it makes you feel really good, I would imagine.
For sure. I mean, Albany had a tough schedule,
Yeah.
and they, especially early in the season, you look at it and had those big wins against Buffalo and the team they're playing this weekend,
Right.
Halifax, probably played them, week 5 or 6, and I think that was it, MVP Arena,
Yep.
and came away with a win. So you look at their holistic schedule and it was they played the tough teams tough, won the big games, and that's why they're in the 3 seed and have a home field game to open the playoffs, which is exciting. First time in since probably early 2000s that an NLL team in Albany's had a
Right.
home playoff game. So hopefully the masses can go out there and see a special, young, energetic team that plays with a lot of passion.
And that's what we keep talking about too, right? Like, I get it, as media members, it isn't necessarily our job to tell people to go watch the games, but the talent is undeniable. The excitement of the game itself can't be denied either. And so I'm on board as like, hey, people, let's go out and support this local franchise that is now winning. I understand you don't want to go last year; they were struggling, but they've shown you every reason this year to go buy a ticket and to check them out. And now with a playoff game at home, heck, why not? Yeah, you said it was a 12-10 FireWolves win over Halifax on January 6th. So it's going back a little ways. But what would it mean, Brett, for this league as we see New York go to Ottawa, and other talks of expansion or relocation? What would it mean for Albany to really kind of take a stranglehold of the market here?
Well, I mean, you've been there a while, right? Like the Capital District has pretty strong roots from a lacrosse standpoint,
Yeah.
and we talked a little bit back about early 2000s with the indoor, and then certainly outdoor, the local colleges. A lot of our players in the league from that area. One that we all don't know the name, Lyle, did some special things there in Albany, and many others. So I think it's really important that we continue to foster that fan base, specifically with our NLL product. And we've seen momentum over the year, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully it culminates in just a massive passion point this weekend and potentially beyond if they can win it, right? Because now you're assuring yourselves another home game for sure. And just like any other home arena, you want to take advantage of home field advantage, and it's a big game against Halifax, and And while you said the media, sometimes it's a challenge to send people out to say that message and get people out there. From a commissioner standpoint, right? It's important. We've got 4 huge games this weekend, and our attendance has been massive this year.
Yeah.
Again, another increase past the million, and I think just super exciting games. We expect everything to be tight this weekend. It's one and you move on, or one and you're done. So the home field crowd is going to certainly be advantageous in those 4 markets, and certainly for the Capital District, very similar.
So many of the promotional nights have worked well here. And as team president Chris Parecka has told me many times, hey, you don't have to be a lacrosse fan to come to one of these games and really have a good time. You know, they did the throwback night, retro night not long ago. And we've had a lot of those Albany throwback guys come back to the Capital Region. Like you mentioned, Connor Fields had a big game when Rochester was back in town not all that long ago. And so there are always reasons every week if people look, there are always reasons to go check out this squad. Let's talk about the health of the league overall, Brett, because you just mentioned the success across the country and beyond. It's a North American sport here, the NLL. The attendance increasing again for a second straight year. The multimedia contract rights deal that this league has as well. Where would you kind of state of the league for us, if you would, the trajectory right now?
Yeah, I mean, from a trajectory standpoint, it's certainly heading in the right direction. If we look across all those key KPIs, as we call them, from a digital standpoint, broadcast standpoint, attendance, if we use those 3 buckets, all certainly heading in the right direction and growing over the last couple of years. Now, that being said, we certainly cannot be complacent or naive to where we need to go. And it's important we have exponential growth. So I feel good on all fronts that we've had growth. But really, what's important as we look at the next several years in our long-term plan is to have sizable, seismic jumps. And you kind of brought up the fan base. For us, we don't necessarily have to cater to the endemic. It doesn't have to be the lifelong lacrosse fan. And in fact, we feel like we cater to every demographic there. You have seen it all. You have worked and for both the ESPN and TSN for us, and see that frenetic pace and kind of the crushing hits and the physicality and the athleticism. And for us, it's high quality entertainment from opening whistle to the final whistle that everyone can enjoy. All game, all ages. And for us, that's extremely important for us as we look at the North American and even the global demographic feel like all can consume us.
Albany specific, the addition of Dyson Williams next year is something to already be excited about. What effect, Brett, do you see the league benefiting from players who are on TV or at least gaining social media recognition by playing? You played college lacrosse, by playing college lacrosse in the States and then becoming marketable stars in the NLL?
Yeah, certainly important. We watch the NCAA Final Four every year. You look at it, it was almost maybe 750,000 to 1 million people watching those games last year. Dyson right in the middle of it, amongst a few others, and Cormier behind them, and you some big names in college lacrosse, and they're influencers. They're socially connected to demographics that are really important to us, and specifically that North American and U.S. endemic. So excited to have Dyson come into the league. Not only is he a world-class player and someone that can really transcend the sport, but he's a great kid, right? He's someone that you want at the pulpit, and I think he's going to obviously be a great addition for Albany. They're already the youngest team in the league, and with him become a little younger, and his big frame and athleticism, it'll fit in really well. So the folks there should be extremely excited. not only for what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks, but the next couple of years. Well positioned for certain, success into perpetuity right now up in Albany.
Yeah, he's a monster. For all the talk that has been out there this year about an undersized Albany offensive unit, you add Dice into the mix, they'll be talking a little bit differently next year. All right, so we know that the Sunday game in Albany is the only one on the card. Halifax at the FireWolves, 3:00. Where are you this weekend? Are you on the couch just taking it all in? Are you trying to get somewhere personally?
Yeah, so I'll be a little of everything this weekend in that I'm still coaching, coach my boys high school team too.
Yeah.
So balancing this weekend at least being on the coaching field, and then I'll be consuming at least this weekend's games on the TV every lasting minute, and then after this weekend, certainly the travel will begin for the remaining games of the playoffs.
Cool. Well, enjoy it. Good luck with your games with your son's team, and I hope we'll catch up again soon. But enjoy the playoffs this weekend. We will in Albany.
Thank you very much. Hopefully, we get the fans out there Sunday at MVP.